Well, joining me now, Mikaela Mayer, unified world champion, about to fight Jennifer Hahn on April the 9th. Mikaela, are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, of course. Always looking forward to my fights. I think that my last fight with Hamadouche really gained me a lot of respect and showed a lot of my versatility. So
clearly one of the fights of the year last year.
Yeah.
Clearly, yeah. It was a brilliant fight. As I've said to you in person, it was amazing.
Yeah, and she was a tough opponent, and that always brings out the best in me, and I was able to show a different side that people haven't seen before. So that was cool, and I feel like I'm going to do the same going up against Jennifer Hahn. You know, completely different styles. Don't expect to see Mayer Hamadouche fight, but I think I'll get to show a little bit more of my ring IQ and yeah, just show a little bit more of my skill.
I mean, you've seen her in against Katie Taylor, haven't you, recently? So did you take much from that performance when you studied it?
Yeah, of course. We definitely always study tape, and we watch. There's not like a ton of footage of Jennifer Hahn online, but we obviously the Katie Taylor fight is what we've been looking at because that was the most recent. So you know, we see how she moves. We see what kind of worked well for Katie. You know, I don't think I have a similar style as Katie. I think that maybe I have a little bit more of a pro style than Katie, and so I definitely plan on using my jab and punching behind that and setting combinations up. And yeah, like I said, I want to show my ring IQ in this fight.
You had a recent trip to the UK. You experienced British fans. You did some commentary. Tell me about your trip to the UK and what you got out of it.
Loved my trip to the UK. They love boxing over there. I mean, you just see like the energy is just so different. I want to experience that when I fight. So I really, really want to get over there sometime this year and hopefully get to fight and build some more British fans. But it was great.
Opponent in mind for over here, Mikaela?
I don't know. There's so many. I mean, obviously it would be great to fight somebody with a British person. Yeah. You know, there's obviously Natasha Jonas out there. There's other girls a little higher up. You know, Chantel Cameron. If I were to move up a little bit in weight. Katie Taylor, I would love a big fight against her. I mean, but women's boxing is thriving over there. So there's plenty of, I think, especially my weight division, you know, 130, 40, I can fight anywhere between that. And there's a lot of girls there for me, a lot of big fights for me. I don't want to stay at 130 for too much longer because I know that there's so many other big fights and I want to be able to get up there and challenge myself against other girls.
Do you have to cut much weight? Well, one shouldn't really ask a woman this, but do you have to cut much weight to do 130? I mean, you're 5'9", 5'10" anyway?
Yes, I do. I cut a lot. Started this camp out at about 152. So that shows you that I'm 130. I woke up this morning at 138. So it's been an 8-week bar to get down a good amount of weight. It's a little harder now. I get stuck at certain weights and it'll take me a week or two to kind of break that hump and then I'll get down, but it's very disciplined. And so, you know, I think that I will be a little stronger moving up 135 and 140, and I have the height to do it. So, you know, there's no reason for me to keep forcing myself to get down to 130. If I had to for the big fights, I get that, but there's other fights for me also. So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to test myself in different weight classes also.
You mentioned Natasha Jonas there. Also, she's champion now at 154. Yeah.
Proud about that. Yeah.
So could you? Is that doable for you at 154 with Tasha or not?
I think that's an unnecessary. That's just like a silly jump from 130 to 154. I mean, I know she did it because she wanted the opportunity to win a world title, so she has a reason. I don't really have a reason to do that. There's other fights.
Yeah.
For, you know, it's not. I don't think if the fight with Natasha Jonas is worth me jumping up 3 weight classes. It just doesn't seem like at this point. But maybe she wants down to a lower weight.
Have you got a view on, you mentioned Katie Taylor as well, obviously that could be at lightweight. So have you got a view on what happens between Amanda Serrano and Katie Taylor?
Yeah, I'm not trying to pinpoint like an exact outcome. I've been kind of broad with my statements on this, but I think that Katie Taylor is a very sound amateur style, and Serrano a very sound pro style. And I don't think that Taylor has really transitioned into that pro style all that much. She has a very amateur style, and it's a great one. It works for her, right? She's done well with it. But a style like that with a really high punch count kind of overwhelm a pro for the first few half of the fight. And so maybe she'll take the first half. I see Serrano kind of a good sound pro, be able to kind of close that space and impose themselves later on in the fight. So I see her sort of taking the second half, but I'm going to predict that it goes to decision, and we'll just see who had the better game plan, who was more disciplined.
So a weird split decision, because let's be honest, Puerto Rico has an amazing fan base in New York. The Irish have a massive fan base. They're both going to make a lot of noise on either side. Are you going to be there or not? Will we see you there?
I am going to be there. I bought a ticket.
Great.
Be there dressed in all white. I'm telling everybody I'm going to be in the white corner, neutral corner.
Yeah.
Who wins? They both, they've been great role models, or they've been great pioneers in this sport. They've done so much for the sport. I have respect for them both, and so I really don't care who wins. I'm a fan that night. I just want to see a great fight, and I would love to fight the winner. I would love to challenge myself against the winner of that fight, and I think it would be great. And that's definitely on my list.
So when I'm there on the ring apron, you'll be pushing up against the ropes and trying to get in the ring, going nose with the winner, no? In New York.
No, not going to cause any problems. I'm not going to take away anyone's shine that night. That fight's not about me. But I am working my way to the top of the pound for pound list, and I want to challenge myself against the best, and they're up there. They're the best right now. So
I've known you a few years now, and over that time, there's no doubt, and I don't want to sound like a broken record because we all talk about it quite a lot. Women's boxing has changed transformatively in the last 3 years, hasn't it? Since the onset of COVID, almost.
Mm-hmm.
Do you
Definitely.
agree with that?
Oh yeah, it's grown so much. I mean, I was saying this because a perfect example is like Carolina Dubois. Her having such lucrative offers coming out of the Olympics, and just earlier, I didn't have any offers coming out of the Olympics.
Yeah.
We're still moving women. And now look, you have Matchroom, like they're moving women awesomely. Like he's doing great with that. We're still working a little bit here in the United States. It's a tougher market, I think. But yeah, there's opportunity now where there was none before. So I think that it's only going to continue to get better and grow. We have the talent pool now. We have the ability to compete at the highest possible level in the Olympics and World Championships, and yeah, it's only going to grow, but it's come so far in 4 years.
Yeah, it's funny over here. I think, like you say, there's a very lucrative market for women's boxing. I mean, earlier today, Lauren Price, and I'm talking Saturday here, Lauren Price, the middleweight gold medalist from Wales, turned pro, as did Caris, her partner, with Boxer and Sky. Ebony Bridges is now based in the UK under Mark Tibbs. Obviously, she won a world title last weekend, and I've spoken to her this week as well on Zoom, on video, and she was saying that she doesn't want to be based anywhere else. That the fan base is extraordinary. To fight in front of the packed crowd in Leeds last week and win a world title was a dream come true. Yeah. Do you think we might ever see you migrate here?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Tell me about the dog in the background, by the way, because you keep moving rooms to get away from him, her. But tell me about the dog barking in the background.
I just don't want them to start barking, but yeah, they're right here. They're just chilling.
Oh, there's two of them.
There's two of them. They're twins. They look a lot alike, but yeah.
And who are they? Who are they?
This is Luna. Luna, say hi. Luna.
Lona, yeah.
Moose.
She was a loner, yeah.
Yeah, I got her first as a puppy, and then I got her friend, but they're best friends. They love each other, and I don't feel guilty when I have to leave them alone. Okay, go play.
Never work with children or animals, remember, so they're always going to bark if you're doing a Zoom.
I just bought them this big house with this wraparound porch and nice backyard, and they still want to bark at me like they need me to be out there playing with them. It's like so annoying.
Just finally, Mikaela, just for anyone listening, and I don't mean just women, but for anyone listening, obviously you've been an athlete first, and then a boxer, an Olympian, and or certainly going towards that, and wanting to be an Olympic gold medalist. Just, have you been through tough times where you've wondered whether it was all worth it, and that you've had to find something in yourself just to say, no, this is worth it. It is what I want. I am going to put myself out. It will come to fruition in the end, as it has for you. Have there been times where you've had to kind of just go through like a tunnel and come out the other side?
There's definitely been ups and downs through this whole process. I mean, you know, when I went out for 2012 Olympics, made it to the finals of Olympic trials, didn't make it.
Yeah.
And, you know, that was like my first hump, because I was like, okay, I came this close. Now 4 more years is a long ways away. And it was more like mentally challenging than physically, because you have to wake up every morning and like with this goal in mind, with little daily reward, you know, and just keep pushing for 4 more years when nothing is certain at all. So, and you're not making any money, and it's just, you really, really have to love and be passionate about the sport and really love what you're doing. And I did. So, you know, then I make it to Rio, I qualify, and then, you know, I don't medal, and the Olympics wasn't the experience that I wanted it to be. I didn't feel fulfilled afterwards, and I went through another sort of hump. But I never really thought like, okay, this isn't something, maybe this isn't going to work out for me. Maybe I think of another career path. I never thought that. I just thought, okay, to redirect myself. And that was one reason why I took the chance to turn pro. I knew that after the Olympics that I didn't want to go for another Olympics. It wasn't something that fulfilled me, and I wanted to take my chances somewhere else while I still could and while I was still in my prime as an athlete. And I was willing to take that risk. I almost went to MMA because that's where women were getting the, you know, the exposure and money and the TV time. I didn't, thank God. I ended up working out a deal with Top Rank and being able to stick with the sport that I love and do what I'm doing now.
Well, let me just say, right, because I spoke to Kayla Harrison this week, you'll know as well, the 2-time American Olympic judo gold medalist, and she was saying that, because the weird thing is, you know, she said, I won 2 gold medals at the Olympics and literally fell off a cliff at the end of it, not really knowing what I was going to do. So there's no, it's a weird thing. No one tells you while you're doing that, that's going to come to an end, and there's no flaming reward. There's no financial reward. There's no set piece for you afterwards. You're not given an apartment or a condo by your government for winning that. I mean, in Ukraine, I remember in Ukraine, they used to get 70,000 euros, I think, something like that for a gold medal, even in Paralympics as well, which is amazing. And because I remember their cerebral palsy CP football team, it's like, I think it was 9 or 11 in the team, they all got it. So it was like $500,000 basically for those guys collectively, or $1 million nearly. And it's a weird thing, isn't it, that you chase that Olympic dream, and even if you'd won gold, there might not have been a pot of gold at the end of it. You might have been in the same scenario. It
was really just a whole Olympic experience. You know, you work and you're traveling and you're competing in these other countries, and no one's seeing your hard work, no one's seeing you perform. I just knew like I wanted more of that, even if I failed. I was like, I'd rather take my chance at creating the career that I have always envisioned myself having than just sit back and accept this for what it is. Like, no. And so I took a chance to turn pro because I was leaving this comfortable situation I had where, you know, I was living for free at the Olympic Training Center. I was getting a monthly stipend. I had full coverage insurance, and I was whatever, but that wasn't good enough for me. And so it was a risk for me to leave that and take my chances in the pros, seeing as the pros weren't developed yet. There was not yet a market for women's boxing. But I was willing to do that. And I'm so glad that I did. Like, this is the career I always envisioned for myself. And if I just stayed in my comfort zone and didn't take that chance and turn pro, then I wouldn't be here. And thank God. So yeah, it all eventually worked out in the end, but you just have to keep persevering.
Brilliant. Listen, it's always great to speak to you, even though you didn't recognize me and called me the old rocker. I thought you were some old rocker the last time you saw me, which I probably am anyway. But no, go well, stay fit, stay well, stay healthy, don't get COVID, all those things. I know you've been through it a couple of times where you've got it and it's wrecked your fights. Go well on April the 9th. Can't wait to see it. Go and keep your belts. And we look forward to another brilliant performance. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you. I hope to be back there soon.